Hi, this is Deanna Tack, and this is Kinesiology 562 Critical Assignment. First thing that we assess is functional movement, and we use the PARQ assessment for health and the functional movement screen for movement assessment. According to Cook, Burton, and Hugenboom, it helps assess the movement patterns of the client, and it leads to a program that's both functionally and dynamically appropriate, which is exactly what we want. FMS has 7 tests that are judged from 0 to 3. 7 tests involve very simple equipment. There's a wooden dowel and a 4x6 piece of wood with 2 dowels on the side and a band stretching across. There's also 2 clearing screens. And you can see in the picture what the equipment looks like with Sherry doing it. The 7 tests are the deep squat, which is going to assess bilateral, symmetrical, and functional mobility in the hips, knees, and ankles. Hurdle step, which assesses the mechanics of stepping. Inline lunge, which assesses the lateral or deceleration movements. Shoulder mobility is number 4, which assesses shoulder range of motion. 5, active straight leg raise, which monitors functional hamstring flexibility and core stability. 6, trunk stability push-up, which tests trunk stability. 7, rotary stability, which assesses the body's ability to transfer power from one segment of the body to the other. This is Sherry's scoring sheet, and you can see that she had a little trouble with the deep squat. Most of them were okay. In Sherry's assessment, it revealed some weaknesses, especially in the deep squat. We found that there was a discrepancy between the right and the left side. Her femur wouldn't go parallel to the ground, which may be a challenge with proprioception. We also had to modify the squat with a 2x6 under the heels, which is a weakness in dorsiflexion. The discrepancy between the right and the left sides had to do with the rotary stability test. We didn't have to do any modifications on the left, but when we made it to the right side, then we had to make some changes in order for her to be able to do it. She also had trunk and core weakness, which was in the push-up stability test. She also had a prior knee injury long time ago that came up in the PARQ assessment. And it looked like, she just never really recovered all the way from it. So there was a big challenge in her ability to move. So then hip flexor weakness was another challenge that we saw. She had to do some external rotation in order to get her foot up and over the hurdle. And so those adaptations were things that I kept in mind when I did her exercise prescription. Sherry's program designed took into account those weaknesses by having unilateral exercises to shore up the right and left side discrepancy. In addition, I wanted to make sure the core was able to handle the demands of her life and her exercise program, so we worked really hard on core. Her goal was toning. She just wants to look in shape again. And because of the nature of toning, which is a cross between endurance and strength training, I've opted for high reps, low weight exercises. Because of the endurance aspect of toning, I've included a lot of circuits, especially in the first mesocycle. After the first 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be doing the circuits, and then in week 3, we'll do mini circuits of 3 exercises. Rest time between exercises circuits is going to be 3 minutes for the first mesocycle, 2 minutes 30 for the next. So for Sherry's exercise prescription, just to get a look at it, you'll be able to see how I've modeled these circuits starting in the first mesocycle. A lot of aerobic and endurance kind of mixed up in there, a little bit from all parts of her body, so that we make sure that she gets a little bit of everything. You can also see that from week to week, I have increased her the 1 rep max and heart rate max that we're working on. And then in week 3, we start to do our little mini circuits. So she'll do 3 exercises at a time with the 3 minutes rest between each circuit, but only 1 minute rest between each set. So she'll do the Tabata lunges, the back squats, the single kettle deadlifts, and then she'll rest a minute. She'll go back and do the 3 again, and then she'll get another rest of 3 minutes. So we continue that all the way down to the end of week 4, where she's doing the mini circuits. They just become more and more intense. And then in the second mesocycle, you can see that she's going to be doing more straight sets, and we're increasing the number of sets to 3, but she'll get less rest between each of her muscle sets that we're working on, because she's not doing it in a circuit fashion where there's a lot more rest between sets of squats, for example. So she's going to continually increase. And then at this point, I'm also introducing on Fridays, we're going to start doing HIIT. And HIIT is a great and quick way to increase your VO2 max and really make her metabolism get busy so that we can tone and lose a little bit of the fat. So we continue the HIIT all the way through some pyramid sets in there, so that we can do that. And there's even a few compound sets that she'll do together, so that things keep getting a little bit more difficult. In the next mesocycle, I'd like to introduce some of the stuff she likes to do, like her back to her running and swimming and things like that she likes to do on a 4th day. So periodization can either be linear or nonlinear. Linear periodization generally uses high volume, low intensity exercises. Nonlinear is designed to confuse the body to avoid plateauing due to the body's amazing ability to adapt. For Sherry, I chose the linear periodization, both because it would help her feel she was making gains and because we have a goal of toning, which is high rep, low weight. Her program alternates between aerobic and resistance exercises. It focuses mostly on the lower and then the upper body, alternating our focus. Exercise selection is based on ability, the fact that her core is unable to handle complex moves, and the need to keep the heart rate up and improve functionality. The client goal of overall fitness and toning, both aerobic fitness and muscle hypertrophy, at least to a certain extent, are needed. Couple of exercises that she was struggling with: the deadlift. She struggles with keeping a neutral spine, probably due to the fact that we haven't been able to really work on her the strength of her core yet. And she wants to lift her head up as well, which you'll see in the video. And then she fails to keep the bar close to her legs. So she also struggles with the 5 points of contact. And she does not keep the wrists straight for the bench press. She has a tendency to do this rather than this when she's on the bench press. She likes to lift her feet up. It was kind of hard to see that in the video, but she did have her feet up just her toes on the ground, her heels up off the ground in order to lift up the bar. Things that I need to work on: first of all, there's such a wealth of information out there. I need to make sure that I'm keeping up on what the latest information is. And then I need to work on keeping my eyes on only a couple things at a time. I have a tendency to try to catch everything. I want to see, the core, the feet, I want to see everything. And that's just not possible. So if I could focus on a couple of things each day that we really work on, then, kind of make a hierarchy of what the most important thing is that I need to work on first, and then, work from there. Thirdly, I need to work on improving my own techniques, because the more I improve myself, the more I'm able to help her. And then I need to keep practicing the assessments and using my newly acquired information to break old habits. I've been coaching a long time, and some of those old habits are hard to break. Incorporating faith, how can I coach in a way that's pleasing to God, which is my goal? First of all, I can listen to my athletes. Jesus was an amazing listener of needs. And so many coaches are great at barking out orders and not knowing the hearts of their athletes they coach. A coach can be a leader and still be a great listener. He says, here I am, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come and eat with that person and they eat with me. So I need to be listening for that knock as well. When Jesus asked to heal his eyes, the blind man in the picture, he didn't get rid of the man's hammer toes. Jesus served the needs of the people. As a coach, it's easy to get wrapped up in rankings and scores and forget about the big picture. What is the athlete's dream? What are they trying to achieve? Not what do I want for them? What did they want? And it helps me motivate and serve to that purpose. And lastly, challenge growth by example. Jesus was amazing because he did everything he challenged us to do. He was never a hypocrite who demanded excellence and delivered mediocrity. People followed him because he did what he said to do, and he was who he said to be. As a coach, the athletes will hear your words, but they're going to follow your example. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. And in the end, I am Jesus to those people. So I need to make sure that the people that I'm working with see Jesus in me. And anyway, thank you for listening. And I had a great time in this class and I learned a lot. Thank you.